little bit of this. How about that? How about, oh, hello. Hello. Chapter 8, Switch Statement. All this. All right, Chapter 8. So, a switch statement, if you don't know, is basically allows a variable to be tested for equality against a list of values. So, it shortens an if-else statement. If you're going to have a lot of, you know, variables, or I'm sorry, options that you want to test a variable against, this is when you want a switch statement, okay? Many different ways to use a switch statement, so I'll try to go through this as fast as I can, but I do want to explain it for people that don't have a clear understanding. So a simple switch starts off with a switch, with the word switch, and then here is the variable that you want to test. If it matches this, you perform this action. If it matches the second condition, you perform this action. There is no default if you don't specify it. So if none of this matches, this switch statement will not execute the statements within those conditions. All right. So in this example, let's see what we have here. I have my value as kick, and this is the variable coming in from kick. And if I put punch, the statement says I will punch you for 50 damage. Again, this is the same thing as write output, right? I'm just shortening it, and I'm just specifying what I want to say. So if I run this, it says I will kick you for 50 damage. If you put punch, and then it says I will punch you for 50 damage. All right. Section 8.2, the switch statement with case-sensitive parameters. So case-sensitive parameters, exactly like it says, you specify case-sensitive, then it has to be case-sensitive. It won't run that condition if it doesn't match the sensitivity. Okay. So let's actually, I actually don't have something on here. I'll put it for you guys. I'll update the GitHub. But let me just copy and paste this, and then we'll run it. And it says second action, because if you see right here, the capital C matches the capital C here, which is going to run second action. Okay? Pretty straightforward. Anything else? Output normal match 0. Range set characters. Okay. All right. 8.3. Switch statement with wildcard parameters. All right. This is when it gets a little interesting, right? So a wildcard, if you don't know what that means, it's just sort of a anything, right? It just means anything. But wildcard allows you to say anything in front, anything in back, anything in the middle, right? So let's dissect this wildcard statement. So we have a switch, okay? And the wildcard, you specify wildcard. If you don't specify it, it'll try to match the string. But if you specify a wildcard, it will be looking for special characters that will trigger wildcard. So the first one will be a normal match. And if it's a wildcard, you can still match normally, right? But it will be looking for certain wildcard characters. Here are the characters. The star, oh yeah, AOC right here means an A or an O or a C. F through L. And if you know regular expression, then that's what it is, regular expression, right? So this kind of matches really close to regular expression, but there's actually a regular expression argument that you can pass. So in this example, we are just going to focus around wildcards, okay? So when we run it, normal match, right? 0 or more wildcard characters. So this one just says 0 or more wildcard characters. So condition matches condition right here. And then 0 or more wildcard characters. So if I take condition and I throw more words on it, it still matches 0 or more wildcard characters. Okay. If I put it in the front, then nothing will trigger because everybody is expecting a C in the front. See? There's no one expecting nothing in the front, right? So if I do this, what do you think will happen? I'm looking in the front or the back. See? Make sense? So very helpful. Okay. Now, there will be times when you don't really want to specify a wildcard, but you want to specify certain characters within a string, and probably a number range, probably some letters, whatever it is, you may want to specify the characters within it. And that's when you would use these, right? So let's test those out. So if we take condition, and then we see range set of characters. So that did trigger. That looks fine. Let me fix this. And we say A, O, or C. So it means condition. That didn't work. Condition works. CC addition works. But condition. Oh, condition works. Okay. No, yeah, it works. Okay, good. All right, maybe that was a little bug. All right, but let's do F through L. So that's going to be between the T and the O. So that's I. I want an F. That works. L. That works. So do you see what's happening? I can specify a certain character range. If I put a D here, then it won't work. But if I put an A or O or C, it'll work. Okay. The question mark. So that's just a single character wildcard, and you can just put a question mark saying that this particular character I'll accept any value. Okay, so that will trigger anything. So you could put 3, you could put a dot, whatever the character, it'll match. Okay, and then this test is no match. Switch statement with file parameters. So I did include a file in the sample data folder, and that's called test. So test is a file. It's in the file. It's a line. And what this does is the switch statement will take the file and then the file name right here. And then from the file name, it will run it through each line and evaluate the switch statement. Okay, and then if it matches, first action, test, second action, fail. Okay, so because you saw that test was in the line in that statement, then it will run the second action. Okay, that's what I'm expecting. Again, it's in sample data, chapter 8.4. Second action. Okay, and again, it runs each line. So if there's something like that, then it runs it many times. All right. So there will be scenarios where you want to, go through a file, match a certain line. This is what you can use the switch statement for. Simple switch with default condition. So, similar to if-else statement or operator, we can do something similar where we can say if the variable we're testing, which is condition, if it matches skip condition, we want to do the first action. If we match the skip this condition to, then we want to do the second action. But then by default, right? Default, it'll run this. Now, looking at this, and knowing that this is the value we are testing, what do you think will happen? Well, based off the section title, it's going to be the default, right? So the default's going to run. Okay. Do I have a default? Yeah, I have a default. So I did put a foreground equals host. That not trying to confuse you, but foreground equals host just changes the color. That's all it is. You put dash with the argument foreground color and you put the parameter red. That will change the color. Okay? Nothing crazy. If it matches the other items, then it will run those, right? But for this scenario, we are matching default. 8.6, switch statement with regular expression. Again, if you don't know regular expression, I can give a video around it. Maybe a couple videos to kind of help people get familiar with regular expression. It's very, very powerful. Very, very good to use to parse string, parse data. And when you have a pretty complicated scenario, regular expression a lot of times will work. So you can do switch statements within regular expression, which is pretty cool. Let me show you. So here we go. Condition with one or more non-digits. Okay, this one. So we're going to take this, and if there's one or more non-digits, then this will run. This next one. This one is looking for 0 or more O. So that would be this, and then you're looking for if it's multiple O's, this will match. The next condition is something like this, a period. Okay, so a period means any single character, similar to the question mark wildcard you saw previously. The caret here, and then there's the C, and then the /W. So let me just put in green the regular expressions. So this is the regular expression, which is the caret. This is the regular expression, which is the /W, and the plus, and this is the regular expression. Okay, it looks a little confusing, but I'm gonna explain it, and it'll be a little bit clearer when you go through the example and mess around and play around with it. Okay, so I'm gonna run this, and as you can see, there's only one thing that matched, the 0 or more 0. So condition, and then there's a star. If we do this, that will still match because it's looking for the letters. I'm sorry, the letter 0, and then the star means or more, and then the $ means at the end. So it has to be at the end. So if I do something like D, now it doesn't match because it's not at the end, right? It has to be at the end. So you could do anything over here, and that won't work because it requires con, and then I'm sorry, it requires condition, and then anything after that, which is the zeros, so it can keep going. All right, let's try to match the other items. Let's see here. Con, and then non-digit, which is a capital D. D means non-digit, so this means non-digit /D with the plus. Plus means go on forever. ION. All right, so let's think. How do we match that one? ION. So I need ION, and I need con. So really, I can put now anything over here, and it should match. See? Did that make sense? Con own. This will match too. See? So I want this has to match exactly con. This has to match exactly ion. The /D plus in the middle, this thing, that is saying I want with the capital D non-digit character, meaning it can't be a number. It's got to be a non-digit, and then from there it'll match. So, is a space a non-digit? Yeah, it's not a digit. Is putting periods? Yes, it's not a digit. But the moment I put a digit, doesn't match. All right? All right, let's try to match this one. Any single character condition. All right, pretty straightforward. See that? I just need to match everything else, and then this is the wildcard. This is the any single character. And when it says any single character, it does mean any single character. So I could put a space, it matches. I could put a period, right? Anything will match that character, okay? Next one. What does this say? All right. The caret means in the beginning, I need it to be a C. In the end, I need it to be an N. So now I'm already, the requirement is I need a C in the front, I need an N in the back, and then I need a word. This is a word. This right here, /W plus means I need a word. Okay? Now that you know that, and we know what it requires to match that condition, that's what they call an anchor word, right? Anchor words is you anchor around the word. Anchor word. Now, let's match it. I need a C in the front, I need the N in the back, and then I also need ITION, right? So I need all that. But that means that OND could be whatever. Does that make sense? So again, ITION, okay. So really, I need a C in the front, I need an N in the back, and then right here, ITION needs to be matching over here. Okay? But now anything here is fair game. All right? Make sense? And it has to be a word. I didn't put digit, I didn't put capital D. This /W means it needs to be a word. A word means it needs to be complete. If it's not complete, that's not a word, right? A word is like that. A word is, something that's connected to each other. No spaces. Maybe dots will work? No, dots won't work. So it needs to be a word, right? It has to be word. It could be not even a correct word, but it has to be connected, have a word boundary. Does that make sense? So C in the front, word. Again, this was a space, so it's not, but I can type whatever I want and it matches. All right? That's a little, I hope I didn't go too deep, but yeah, hopefully that explained regular expression for you. Switch. Let's see. What's this? Let's run this one. Condition, break. Oh, this is the break statement. Oh, where's the break? All right, I'll fix it. But this is a break statement, so pretty straightforward. If it matches a condition, it'll take that action. If it matches another condition and you want to break, you want to escape the switch, then it'll break, and then it won't go to the third action. One thing I didn't mention was a switch statement will keep running, and if you have the same condition multiple times, it'll run. Now, in a realistic scenario, you're not going to have match a condition and then condition and then condition and then condition. You wouldn't have that in a real life scenario. You would have something where when you want to match that condition, you then want to have all this stuff actually, run under the same condition. You wouldn't match the same condition multiple times. You would just match it once and then run whatever statement you need to run. But in this scenario, this kind of tells you that the condition, if you have multiple wildcards or regular expressions and it matches, it'll run that statement. So just keep that in mind. Is the switch statement is not like the if else where it'll run it and then or else Like if you have an if else, it'll run one or the other. But in a switch, if it matches the condition, it will run it. Okay. So there may be a scenario where you wanna match for a certain name of a person, do this, and then maybe the age is in a certain range, do this, and then maybe they have a certain color, do this, and based off those conditions, you can modify certain properties. Okay, so good to know. Switch statement with exact parameter. So the exact parameter means it needs to be exactly like that statement and match it as a string. So exact, right? And then you have the condition. So this will match, this will match, this will match, this will match. And then this one, even though it's a wildcard, right? It'll technically match, but this one will not match because you're specifying exact. It needs to be exactly that. So it ignores wildcards. It needs to be it's sort of case insensitive matching, and just looks at the string. So in this example, we're going to run it, and you can see that first action match, second action, third action. The fifth action had a wildcard, and then also this was saying I expect C to be in front, I expect the N to be in the back, but it also didn't match. But if you did regex with exact, then it all matches. Okay? All right, last section, 8.9, switch statement with expressions. So in this scenario, we have a my input equals 0, and we have the, we're matching the 0, and if the expression matches, right, and it passes true, it'll provide output. So you can put expressions within that. It could be a function, could be something else, but know that when you match it, the result of that, whatever happens inside that parentheses, the result needs to match. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. Okay, so this needs to match. Oopsie. Needs to match that, or it matches that, based off whatever is running inside this parentheses. Okay, I'll show you real quick. So we have true, 2 minus 2 equals 0. That's true. That's true. This doesn't run because my input, we require 0, right? And my input is 0, so we know that is 0. 2 plus 2 is 4, so it doesn't match. So this wouldn't match. Okay. If you put 0, that definitely matches, as you can see. You can, and I haven't shown you guys a function yet. We'll get into that later. But if I do a function, just to show you an example, and I'm just going to do something like this. We're going to put a name, the return value, and we return 0, and we run this function that matches. See? Because I'm calling the return function, right? I'm calling that function, and then the 0 is returned. Oopsie, the 0 is returned back to whoever called it. Goes back over here. It puts 0 here. 0 matches here, and we're good. If I put a 5, doesn't match. So you can put expressions or whatever in those parentheses. All right. That is it. Thank you, everyone.